The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
This could be it, right? The last episode of Locked On Canucks history. It all depends what happens tonight on the island between Thatcher Demko and your Canucks and Bo Horvat and those. Okay. Am I regretting the Bo Horvat trade? Okay. You know what? Let's just start the episode.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People. We back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks on what could be, what's the word, Armageddon? A renaissance? A funeral, okay? Man, oh man, another must-win game. Again, this time on the island. And, with St. Louis, continuing to dominate, and Calgary just, doing what they got to do. You know what? I'll tell the people why by the time the episode ends, why I'm a little bit of a Calgary Flames fan. Just hold up just a bit. Just relax. But all in all, those two teams keep winning. And, I just feel like it goes back to what I've been saying for weeks. I don't think it's going to be 92 points or 94 points. I think it's going to be like 97 or 98. Bare minimum that gets you in the playoffs, okay? We're talking about St. Louis being on fire. I don't know how many more games they're losing. So in my opinion, the Canucks, they got to win their next what? Do the math. Their next 11 games, get to 100 points to make the playoffs, okay? It is what it is. All in all, though, again, welcome to Locked On Canucks. Hit the like button if you're with us today. And, one love to the Don'tos Art Lab for giving us a space that is also giving you that West Coast bias. And let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. This is a big one. Thatcher Demko gets another start. What does that mean? Is Kevin Lankinen really hurt? Because in my opinion, do you really need to go back-to-back with Thatcher Demko? I know you got a day off in between, but come on. Kevin Lankinen been so rock solid for pretty much the whole entire year. Something's got to give there. And, he must be a little bit more banged up than I thought. But, hey, all in all, though, we have our savior, Thatcher Demko. And I think even though we're playing against a low-scoring Islanders team, we're going to need Demko alongside Pius Suter and Teddy Bluger to just hold it down. Right? Hold it down. Make things happen. Provide stability. And I know I didn't mention Quinn Hughes. I just expect him to be 99 overall game in and game out. And it's kind of getting lame just talking about him doing it all game in and game out. It's just gonna happen. But can we get like a Thatcher Demko performance of the ages? Okay, again, I know we're playing against the Islanders, but I'm desperate. I'm desperate for 2 points. And you know what? Before we dive deeper into the game, let me know in the comments right now. How are you guys feeling? Were you guys schedule watching yesterday? Remember when I told you I'm not going to schedule watch? I'm just going to wake up this morning and figure this all out. Boom, bam. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock last night, and I'm with the homie who doesn't even watch hockey. Right? The homie Roy doesn't even watch hockey, and what does he do? He points his phone towards me, and he's like, "Yo, look at my employer, big time Calgary Flames fan. Apparently, his heart rate was at 128. You could tell by the Apple Watch. Okay, he's like, "Oh, isn't this funny? He was just watching the game. The Flames won in overtime." I'm like, "F you, fuck you. Why are you telling me that the Flames won in overtime? I'm trying to take a day off." And then what do I do next? Obviously, I search up the Canadiens game with the St. Louis Blues, and the Blues went 6-1. So again, this Islanders game, it's a must-win game. Trevor, I told the people, and I've been telling you too, you thought I was joking. I said, yo, the Canucks have to win all their games. It's not about going 8-4-1 or 8-3 and whatever. It's about going 11-0. I know it's one game at a time, but if I'm a member of the Vancouver Canucks, without Pettersson, without Höglander, without Hedl, yo, you got to look at this and be like, yo, we got to be at our best for just 11 more games. But, let's win these games.
They got to win the majority of their next games. I know you keep talking about 11-0. I'm not sure how realistic that is, but they probably got to reel off at least 8 wins in their next 11 games, right? And against the New York Islanders team tonight, who, Kyle, we've talked about it time and time again, they're a desperate team. And lo and behold, the New York Islanders actually less desperate than the Vancouver Canucks tonight, because with a win, they can actually get back into a wild card spot in the Eastern Conference, especially after the St. Louis Blues shellacked the Montreal Canadiens last night. And look, I don't think anyone really wants to see the Islanders make the playoffs. There's nothing sexy about the New York Islanders. But that being said, they do got old friend Bo Horvat on the team. And, Kyle, I'm thinking about the Bo Horvat trade a little bit more here. And, I guess it's a fair question to ask now because of where the Canucks are, but should the Canucks have kept Bo Horvat instead of JT Miller? What would the team have looked like?
Trevor, I guess what you're trying to ask is, if we don't make the playoffs, are we going to look back at everything? Are we not going to just look back at not trading Besser, not trading Suter? Are we going to not just look back at trading Miller for, Filipino, who again was one injury away from his career being over? Are we going to look at all those trades or lack of trades and get negative? But look at you. Now we're going to go, should we have not traded for Filip Hronek?
Well, think of it this way, Kyle. Think of it this way. Okay, if the Canucks in 2023 decided to trade JT Miller and keep Bo Horvat, let's say that they get a similar haul for JT Miller, right? They end up getting Filip Hronek in the fold.
Okay.
Would this team be better off with Hronek and Horvat?
No, I don't
or with who they have right now, which is Hronek and Pettersson and Ratu and some prospects. So no, I think it's a fair question to ask. And even Kyle, I was looking at it before we hopped on the show here, just game score this season. Bo Horvat's game score, a .098 this season. That's third best in the Islanders. It'll be third best in the Canucks as well. The only Canucks better than Bo Horvat in that regard are Quinn Hughes and JT Miller, who is no longer with the team. So obviously, we know it's been a trying season for Pettersson and Besser.
We're not getting Philip.
What are you gonna say, Max? Come on, let off the chest.
What I'm trying to say is this: we had to trade for Filip Hronek. Filip Hronek is better than Bo Horvat.
But look at it this way: what if we traded Miller for Hronek and kept Bo Horvat, and so you have Bo Horvat instead of Hedl and Pettersson?
We can't even live there. We cannot live there, man. We cannot live there because that trade wasn't going to happen. Another year of look at Steve Yzerman. Actually, you never know. Steve Yzerman's kind of a dumbass. I'm sorry, Yzerman. Okay, you broke my heart back in 2002 when you guaranteed that the Canucks were going to lose after taking a 2-0 series against you while you're on that team bus with the Red Wings. So I have a little bit of vendetta against you. But this is also the guy that traded Wallman as a salary dump, and then Wallman got a first-round pick. When the San Jose gave him to the Oilers. So you never know. Maybe if Hronek, because remember, Hronek was really good last year and he's been really good again. So maybe if Yzerman still saw more of Hronek, because there was a feeling that he gave up on Hronek early, not just because they didn't want to pay him, but they literally believed he wasn't going to be worth the money, right? That's the big thing here. They knew he was projecting to get at least $6 million, $7 million, right? He played a lot of minutes, got a lot of points, played on the power play, and they're like, oh, he's not one of those guys. Let's get rid of him. And he was wrong. And yeah, maybe he would still do it because, again, he's a little bit dumb when it comes to player assessment, but I don't know, man. I guess in theory, what you're trying to say is, would you rather have Horvat and Hronek versus Marcus Pettersson and JT Miller? And the obvious answer to me is yes, because Filip Hedl. I actually believe in Filip Hedl. I really like him, but I mean, Trevor, can we just focus on the playoffs? Because I don't want to say it. Filip Hedl may retire.
Yeah,
dude, he may retire. We got to have that honest conversation. It's just the way it is. This guy missed a whole year. Last year, he came back in the playoffs, but he missed pretty much the whole year. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days. And now he just got his 5th concussion. And Drew, this one was harsh. This one was a heavy hit. It wasn't just a glance. It was anyways. Why are we talking about Filip Hedl? Why are we talking about Bo Horvat? Trevor, man. Come on, bro. I'm losing hair. Dude, this might be the last episode of Locked On Canucks. Hit the like button. So Trevor's kids can be proud of him. I'm sorry, because dude, this has been a hurtful year. And now look at what we're doing. We're playing the Islanders. Could you imagine if Horvat picked up a hat trick today? Because you're right. The Islanders are desperate. He's a good player. He's a clutch player too. Let's be honest. He's clutch. He'll figure it out. If he gets a hat trick and also nails Quinn Hughes behind the net, and then next thing you know, Quinn Hughes tears his ACL. It's what would you do as a Canucks fan? Take it away, Trevor.
Well, again, I think we'll talk more about the game ahead on the other side too. But we talk about the Islanders being desperate. Look, I think they're looking at this game tonight against the Canucks as one of the most winnable games remaining on their schedule, right? The Canucks are missing Pettersson, Höglander, and Hedl up front. Thatcher Demko starting tonight as well, and it's only his second game back after missing most of the season with injury. And the Islanders after the Canucks tonight have the Lightning, the Hurricanes, the Lightning, the Wild, and the Capitals. It doesn't get any easier for the New York Islanders. This is one of the most winnable games tonight, and it's really a must-win game for both teams tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. But
Trevor,
let us know in the comments how you feel about Bo Horvat. A couple years gone from the trade now. Is there any regret among Canucks Nation about trading away Bo Horvat? I'm going to say I don't regret the trade. I think at the time they made the right decision. JT Miller was the better player. Could they have foreseen this coming with Pettersson? Maybe they could have, right? But obviously last year was a fantastic year for this franchise, mainly because Miller and Pettersson were those guys. And Horvat has not been one of those guys. He's been a solid 60 to 70 point guy. He wasn't a 90 to 100 point guy, which Elias Pettersson and JT Miller are and were. So again, not having too much regret about the Bo Horvat trade, but it is an interesting conversation just seeing where both teams are. No regrets, as SK93 says in the comments. Kyle, let's get to the other side and talk, dive a bit deeper into the game ahead tonight. Another must-win game for your Vancouver Canucks. Who do we expect to step up? Not named Quinn Hughes. Let's get to all that on the other side, baby. Let's do it after we shout out our friends over at Who Knows? Find out on the other side here on Locked On Canucks. All right, you know who we're shouting out today? It's Indeed, baby. Whether you're looking for a job or you're an employer looking to hire, you got to use Indeed, okay? When it comes to hiring, Indeed, it's all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites because Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page to help you reach the right candidates faster. And I know that when Kyle Bowen leaves this show tonight after the Canucks lose to the Islanders, I'm going to be using Indeed to be having to find a new co-host, man, because it ain't easy to find quality people like Kyle Bowen. Don't leave me, brother. We're going to make it through, man. It's all good. So when you're hiring, make sure you use Indeed to speed up your hiring process with the $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockdown right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast, Locked On Canucks. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, okay? They're against the Islanders tonight. It's a must-win game. The Canucks still 5 points out of a playoff spot. Man, oh man, that comeback against the Devils. Holy. I would have turned into the Devil this morning, based on what happened last night, okay? Again, St. Louis doing their thing. Calgary just not losing. Again, I want to tell a story on why I'm kind of cheering for Calgary too. Not really. I'm not cheering for them like that. Don't get me wrong, but when St. Louis wins, I get so pissed off. And when Calgary wins, I get a little mad. There's a little bit of a difference. But again, we'll touch on that in a handful of minutes. Again, your Canucks, Islanders, boom, bam. Trevor, don't forget, though, man, the Islanders, they whooped us. They pretty much, I feel as if, what would the word be? Like the microcosm. If you look at what happened months and months and months ago between the Canucks and the Islanders at Rogers Arena, it could pretty much sum up how crazy the season's been, how chaotic and how trauma-licious it's been. That being said, Trevor, let's get some revenge because the Islanders are missing a ton of players that game and they still kicked their ass. And now roles are kind of reversed and we need a must-win game. And I said this off the top, I'm getting kind of tired of, just talking about Quinn Hughes being 99 overall and doing this thing. I know that's going to happen. What else needs to happen outside of just Quinn Hughes bringing it? Because there's one guy who we didn't mention a lot after the Devils game, and that's Brock Besser. I thought Brock Besser played an unbelievable third period in that game. And you want to talk about a guy that's play driving? Just look at what he's been doing in the neutral zone. He's carrying that puck. He wants to make a play with the puck. Not the best skater in the world, but I'm seeing another level of confidence. And let's be honest, we need some of that again tonight.
Yeah, 100% need some of that again tonight. And then Kyle, I think one of the guys I want to shout out in terms of guys I want to see make a difference tonight is Jake DeBrusk. I mean, the Canucks top line right now, Jake DeBrusk, Pius Suter, and Brock Besser. Brock Besser? And you mentioned it, Kyle. Brock Besser, he has never throughout his career been a play driving forward on the line. He's been more of a beneficiary of playing with good line mates. But now we're seeing Brock Besser, at least over the past couple of games, starting to drive a line on his own, which is, again, a bit out of the ordinary for Brock Besser. But the guy has stepped up over the past handful of games into a leadership role, trying to be that guy for the Vancouver Canucks in terms of creating offense. And, Kyle, I look at Brock Besser versus the guys on the Islanders roster, and Brock Besser, is he the most dangerous forward on the ice tonight? I mean, I think so. No one on the Islanders really scares you. Let's go through their lines quick. It's top line of Simon Holmstrom, Bo Horvat, Kyle Palmieri, Anders Lee, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Anthony Duclair on the second line. Third line of Engvall, Cizikas, and Hudson Fasching. Fourth line of Maxime Sasplikov, Makam McLean, and Mark Gatcombe. So this is not a scary team for the New York Islanders, and Brock Besser could be a game changer tonight. But going back to Jake DeBrusk all season long he still leads his team in goals at 23 goals, but just shift to shift, game to game, he's not consistent. He's not noticeable. You're playing with two of the best guys on the Canucks tonight in Pius Suter, Brock Besser, two guys who are absolutely going right now. Jake DeBrusk, get on the score sheet tonight. Go make a difference. That's why they pay you the medium bucks, buddy.
Well, he kind of almost scored the last game, right? I know he's such a weird player because he's so. Dude, let's be honest. He just. I feel like he does nothing but play safe and then score a goal every now and then. I guess that's worth $5.5 million. The whole play driving thing, he has a speed and he has decent puck handling ability. You'd want him to do a little bit more because again, we've seen all those games against Toronto. I keep saying he's just waiting to play Toronto in the first round of the playoffs, and that's when we'll see the real Jake DeBrusk. But newsflash, Jake, we saw you praying on the bench when Lekkerimäki was taking a shootout attempt. Do it. Do something tonight. You know what I'm saying? Bring it. Because Quinn Hughes needs some help. It's arguably. I'm getting emotional, man. I gotta move on, man. Every time I talk about Quinn Hughes, I feel bad for his back. Okay. Jonathan Lekkerimäki. That's another guy I want to talk about. Okay. I don't think it's gonna happen because Rick Tocchet's. Let's be real. I think he's done a decent job this year. I think he's done a good job considering everything. This team's been more injured than any team in the league. But there's been game-to-game decision-making and lineup decisions that he has just failed on, okay? He's been very mediocre at best at his decision-making this year with his lineups. And I know, it's best to lean into the strengths of your team. And right now with a lot of nobodies on forward or just a lot of hustlers and fourth liners and third liners on forward, you want to, make sure the team's locked in culturally, playing this defensively sound game. That being said, Lekkerimäki in the third period too of the last game, how does a guy like that in a pressure cooker situation against a pretty decent team in the New Jersey Devils all of a sudden feel okay, the team needs me to do something. I'm going to do something. And all period long, he was doing something. And even in overtime, again, look at what he's been doing in the AHL. Yeah, different league, I know, but it's his first time in North America. When this guy has confidence, you got to play him. And I know Tocchet said, I'm having trouble finding who to play him with and this and that. Dude, just play Lekkerimäki, dude. You gotta sprinkle him with Pius Suter, do it. We got to play Niels Amon more, do it. But just play Lekkerimäki tonight because I actually believe Lekkerimäki more than Jake DeBrusk because the way he was just handling the puck, he looked like a first-round pick. He looked like that guy who's been dominating the AHL, who dominated the SHL last year, who dominated the World Juniors, 14 months ago. Lekkerimäki's good. I think he's good, dude. And I know. It's late in the season. You don't want to play your rookies. You got nobody talking. Listen to me and play your rookie.
100%. And Kyle, I wanted to ask you this because, Tocchet made the comment about trying to find chemistry with Lekkerimäki and some line mates. And, right now, if you keep Pius Suter, Brock Besser, and Jake DeBrusk together, which it looks like they're going to do tonight, your choices are Atu Ratu, Niels Amon, or Teddy Bluger. And Lekkerimäki's main line mates in the last game were Connor Garland and Teddy Bluger. And then, of course, he scored the goal with Niels Amon and Linus Karlsson when they were on the ice together. But if you're the coach heading into tonight for the Vancouver Canucks, if you are Rick Tocchet, if you shave that beautiful head and you give it a rub, who would you be playing Lekkerimäki with tonight?
Why'd you got to make a balding joke on the eve of the most important game of the season? I literally just said I might retire at the end of this episode. Obviously, I've lost way more hair this year watching the Canucks. Honestly, my mental health suffers from watching this team. And yesterday was a good game because I wasn't schedule watching till 9 p.m. and I was like, damn, I'm actually pretty calm considering like what crazy situation we're in. And anyways, Trevor, shut up. Stop making fun of my head. Dude, I honestly, Neil Zaman or Atu Ratu, like I feel like they played together in the AHL a bit with Lekkerimäki, just one or the other. Keep Teddy Bluger with Garland or just someone familiar. But I don't know. Just Neil Zaman didn't play that bad in the last game. So, yeah, it's either him or Pius Suter. Like, do you stack it up? Pius Suter, Lekkerimäki, and Besser or something? I don't know. All in all, though, just play Lekkerimäki. Trevor, like, I'm not confident in Tocchet doing so because, again, if you watch what happened in the third period of that game, I know the Canucks were fighting for a point, but again, like, I don't know. I don't think Lekkerimäki's bad defensively as well. But even after Lekkerimäki scored a goal with like 9 or 10 minutes left, like he barely got. I feel like he had 1 or 2 shifts remaining in the third period. Like that's just not good enough, Tocchet.
Yeah,
like, play your dogs, man. Like,
yeah,
and Trevor, don't give me the whole Canadian old head answer. Oh yeah, you gotta like play your third liners and lock down. Shut up, dude. This team needs goals all season. Like play Lekkerimäki, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I'm Rick Tocchet heading into tonight, what I would probably do with the lines is just swap Dakota Joshua and Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So you're reuniting Bluger, Joshua Garland. You have Nils Zaman, Linus Karlsson, Jonathan Lekkerimäki together, who, they showed some pop there in that one shift. They've had chemistry together. They played together in the AHL. And then I kind of like the line of Atu Ratu, Kiefer Sherwood, and Drew O'Connor. That line did a really good job quietly of winning the battle against Nico Hischier and the New Jersey Devils on Monday night. So that's probably what I would roll if I was Rick Tocchet. Curious to see if he does something similar tonight. But Kyle, at the end of the day, like you said, you got to get Jonathan Lekkerimäki more minutes. Keep him on PP1 as well, which they did do in the last game, and hopefully they continue to do as well. Jonathan Lekkerimäki has first career goal against the New York Islanders. Let's see him do it again tonight against the team that he got his first goal against.
We need it, man. Trevor's it, man. This could be it, man. The last episode of Locked On Canucks, man. I'm stressed. I'm emotional, and I just really hope we win. And like, I don't know why, like, I was reminded of the fact that Pettersson and Höglander and Filipino weren't playing on this road trip after the St. Louis result last night. I was like, because I was so relaxed. And then I'm like, oh, the poor guys in blue and green. They need to win another game. Desperate hockey. Boom, bam, and they don't have a number 2 center. Crazy, man. Pius Suter playing 25 minutes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man. Anyways, Trevor, let's get to the other side.
There we go. Let's get to break here. On the other side, I want to shout out to Cam Neely, former Canuck of the week, and I want to talk about another path for the Canucks to make it to the playoffs. We'll squeeze in some of your comments as well. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. Happy Hump Day. We'll be back on the other side after shouting at our friends over at Trade Coffee. No, man, shout out to Kyle Bowen, doing the postcast here on Locked On Canucks. I try to join when I can, but I'm a tired dad getting up at 2:30 in the morning. What? And when I hop on the post-game show, I got to have my Trade Coffee. So whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, I'm guzzling that stuff, baby. And that's why, I was drinking that grocery store coffee, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. But with Trade Coffee, I'm telling you, this coffee is next level. Trade Coffee, they have experts that have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you. I took their quiz, and in under a minute, they matched with a roast that was fresh, smelled incredible, and tasted even better. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% off your first order. What? At drinktrade.com/logdownNHL. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/logdownNHL for 40% off your first order.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Canucks. One left to Trevor Beggs, the second best dad in the world, and one left to you, okay? Speaking of you, let's get to some comments. Okay, Japan asking if Lankinen is hurt or sick. Again, I kind of brushed off this at the top. A bit of a disoriented start of the episode because Trevor was having Wi-Fi problems, and I was all over the place, and I was emotional, okay? Don't let me start shows. All in all, though, Trevor, I just thought Lankinen would get the start today. I think like easing Demko in is best for this team, and I just really like Lankinen's game. And I feel like what would it be, like 4 days rest would be enough, but maybe he's actually like injured, which is, if he's injured, like, come on. Like what a chaotic season. And if he's injured, not to go here because maybe he's not injured and I'm over exaggerating, but if he is, yo, Rick Tocchet, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like his intuition has been so wrong this year. It feels like like even when Demko's getting hurt, he's playing him too much. Rick Tocchet, you knew Lankinen wasn't 100% during that game on Saturday, and he still chose to play him. And you know the reason why, because he's the old school hockey guy, and he's a loyal guy to his teammates, his players. I get it, but man, oh man, like that would be something. All in all, have you heard anything? Is Lankinen hurt or sick? What's going on?
The only thing that Rick Tocchet said is that Lankinen was under the weather. He was under the weather against the New York Rangers in that game. Kind of explains his subpar performance. He was apparently still under the weather when the Canucks played the Devils on Wednesday. Okay. The team's traveling on the road and they're all over the place. So I'm assuming it's just a prolonged flu because, man, Kyle, you know it. And I know people in my life too that have been sick for weeks right now. There's some nasty shit out there in the world, man. So one left to Kevin Lankinen.
Wash your hands with peanut butter. Wash your hands with peanut butter. All natural, 100% organic, with the nuts still in there, like the shell still in there. Wash it, and then inhale it. That's what Deepak Chopra said. Okay, that clears up the sinuses and blocks out any more bacteria from coming in. Okay, Dr. Bowen here. Okay,
anyway, Dr. Bowen, man.
One more comment. Maybe you have something to do with this comment, like you have something written about this. Because I feel like you're more intelligent than me and you actually have been looking at the standings. But I've seen this a lot in the comments. I don't know what people are talking about. Okay, the Wild are about to fall out of a playoff spot. Canucks may still have a chance at the 8th seed if it's not, if it's not St. Louis, maybe it's the Wild. If it's not Calgary, maybe it's the Wild. Like, what is SK talking about?
Yeah, so I didn't want to touch on this in this segment when I'm thinking about a different path to the playoffs, the Vancouver Canucks. And the Minnesota Wild right now have been in a bit of a tailspin, especially since the Four Nations break. I believe they're last overall in the NHL since the Four Nations break, averaging only 2 goals per game. Joel Eriksson Ek is injured. Kirill Kaprizov is injured. He might not be back for the rest of the regular season. The Wild only have 10 games left. And if you look at their schedule coming up, it's not the most daunting schedule, but they play the Capitals tomorrow. They play the Devils twice. They play the Rangers and Islanders, who are in the playoff hunt. They play the Dallas Stars. They play the Calgary Flames. The Canucks do play them as well. So, 8 of the next 10 games are against decent teams. They got the Sharks and the Ducks in there as well. So, look, the Minnesota Wild, let's say they're 4-5-1 in their last 10 games. If they continue that stretch of 4-5-1, which I think is realistic, they would end up with, they're at 85 points right now. They would end up with 94 points. Regardless, the Canucks at 78 points, got to go something like 8-3 or 8-2-1 or 9-1-2, like something like they got to go on a crazy run here to make the playoffs. But there is a path for the Canucks to make the playoffs, and maybe it is knocking out the Wild, which would be an incredible fall from grace from this Wild team. I mean, they've been so hurt by missing Kirill Kaprizov, who, according to game score, still been the best player in the NHL this season. But again, when you're missing 2 of your top best players, the Canucks are in a similar situation. But, they got Quinn Hughes on their hockey team. That makes a big difference. Brock Faber has struggled enormously in Minnesota since, really the second half of the season here. So, look, the St. Louis Blues are only 2 points back in the Minnesota Wild right now. They have 83 points. The Wild have 85. And I think St. Louis might have a game in hand on the Wild as well. So, the St. Louis Blues, I mean, they're looking more and more like a playoff team. The Wild might actually be the team for the Canucks to catch here over the next little bit. Regardless, they got to go on a run. They got to win probably at least 8 of their next 11 games.
I'm saying 9 of the next 11. And let's all say this too. If the Canucks do make the playoffs, because again, we're so injured and battered and bruised, like Quinn Hughes, obvious choice for MVP. Obvious. Like, it's so obvious. Trevor, I don't know if you have that message I sent you yesterday. Like, again, I don't understand the data that I was spewing you. Remember, I was like, oh, what does this mean, Trevor? And you're like, oh, the Canucks are just an elite team with Quinn Hughes and not like the worst team when he's not. But anyways, Quinn Hughes is just an incredible talent. Again, we need a lot of points to make the playoffs. We need to go 11-0. St. Louis is always winning. And Calgary, man. Calgary just pulling out miracles, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just doing their thing. You want to talk about a team that's had multiple, like, late third period hurrahs and stuff in recent history? Well, look at their last 4 games. Like, they're doing it. They're doing it. And it should be causing me more stress. But Trevor, not to get super sentimental here. And again, if any Canucks fans listen to this and they don't feel Like, I don't want them to make, I don't want anyone to feel guilty for me saying this, but dude, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm still affected by the Johnny Gaudreau thing, yo. Like, I still am. And I just feel as if there's a little, like, there's just a lot of energy there, bro. There's a lot of energy, and that fan base has been through a lot, and such a loud arena. And, you know, it's been a while since Calgary and Vancouver have been legitimate rivals. And I know their games have been super intense this year, and I'm looking forward to like the future regular season matchups with the Calgary Flames. But a part of me is like, I don't, again, yesterday I was at Cactus Club, and when the homie said that Calgary won, and I was just like, yo, like they've been through a lot this year, man. So even though they may still not make the playoffs and it might affect their draft ranking and their whole rebuild, I'm just like, dude, like it seems as if there's just something like special going on there, you know? Something like magical.
Yeah, that's why you're a more emotional guy than me. Look, with the Calgary Flames, I see a team that's well coached, a team that works hard, but a team that's largely just held up by Dustin Wolf. And you know, you got to credit guys like Jonathan Huberdeau. Like he's had a much better season this year than he had in his first two in Calgary. Nazem Kadri is still a good player as well.
So good.
You know, Rasmus Anderson and Mackenzie Weegar, in my eyes, are both top pair defensemen. So like, Calgary, you know, they've proven that they aren't the bottom feeder that everyone expected to be, but they've certainly punched above their weight class. So I'm not sure. I mean, Dustin Wolf's going to have to just go on a magical run as well for that team to make the playoffs. But anything's possible, Matt. And I want Canuck fans to remember that anything is possible, and that's highlighted by this quick shout out here in the Cam Neely, former Canuck of the week.
I don't want to say goodbye.
All right, Canuck fans, you might have no idea who the this is, but my Cam Neely former Canuck of the week is someone named Mark Gatcomb. What? Who the F is this guy? So Mark Gatcomb, the Canucks signed him out of the University of Connecticut towards the end of 2022. He played 51 games with the Abbotsford Canucks, registering a whopping, he played 2 full seasons with the Abbotsford Canucks, registering a whopping 28 points in 113 games by the looks of it. Then he signed with the New York Islanders this offseason, had 17 points in 35 AHL games. This dude has now played 27 games with the New York Islanders, despite being less than a half point per game player at the AHL. So, man, oh man, believe in your dreams. Anything is possible. Mark Gatcomb has proven that. But it also speaks to the fact that the Canucks got to beat this Islanders team tonight for a myriad of reasons. Not only are they in this playoff push, but you're facing a team with Bo Horvat as their top line center and no one else really behind him. You're facing a team that has Mark freaking Gatcomb, who is a middle six guy in the AHL, playing 27 games for your NHL team this season. Man, oh man, it would be Canucks luck for Mark Gatcomb to score a goal tonight. But anyway, shout out to Mark Gatcomb. Anything is possible. Believe in your dreams. And that's why you just believe in the Vancouver Canucks, man, because it might not make sense, but anything can happen.
Yeah, and it might not make sense, but we have Quinn Hughes, and now I'm getting excited for the game. That's why I like doing these episodes, because I'm like, okay, you know what? Why am I so angry and sad, like thinking that today's the last Canuck game of the season? It's like, we have Quinn Hughes. Anything's possible, and I just hope he's able to like maintain this level of excellence, and I think he will be able to do so. Okay. Anyways, let's get to one more comment and get out of here. If you're watching this, hit the like button. It really does help us out a lot. And yeah, one love to you and you and you and you. Oh man. Okay. Japan saying Horvat was one of the worst captains for this team. He did nothing. We did nothing with him on this team. I'll tell you that for free. So there's a lot of energy there. I like that. And you know, Hans Dryden with a good comment here too. I don't think this is the case, but he's saying, I wonder if they're stress testing Demko before they re-sign him next year, or just, you know, not necessarily doing so to make a decision on his contract after next year, but maybe in the off season. I don't know. Like, this is, I guess it is important to play Demko to see what you got, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting theory from Hans there. I do think this is more about just desperation for the Canucks, right? Like, Kevin Lankinen's been overworked. He's not feeling well. You don't trust Archer Shilovs. Demko, he's not 100%, but he's back in there playing. Demko admitted after the New Jersey game he's not 100%. But this is desperation time for the Vancouver Canucks. And look, Kyle, I mentioned it before. If you want another sliver of positivity before we get out of here, when Thatcher Demko returned at the end of the 2022-23 season, he went on a run where he was 11-4-1 over his final 15 games. Now, the Canucks were pretty far out of the race at that point, but he got the Canucks at least back into the race by the end of March. although they were just kind of on the outskirts of it. And look, that first game he played when he came back, much like the New Jersey game, he was kind of so-so. And then after that, he went on a run of posting .930 save percentages game after game after game. So Thatcher Demko's done it once. Can he do it again with a guy of his talent? I wouldn't rule it out.
Go Canucks, go, man. Keep me alive, okay? Keep me alive. Please just keep me breathing after tonight. I know that's dramatic and emotional, but I'm just an emotional guy, man. The Canucks mean a lot to me.
The Canucks mean a lot to me too, but no one means more to me is you and you and you and you and you for tuning in to this episode of Locked On Canucks. If you like what we're doing, go subscribe and like on YouTube on the podcast side. Go follow us and leave a 5-star review. A subscribe, a like, a follow. You can help Kyle Bowen shed some tears, man.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.